I am worthy of following my heart and following the dreams. And I think having people understand that the things that are keeping them struggling in life, it's not that it's not real, like it's absolutely real, it's there, it's a reality. And there's also another reality that they could adopt and transfer over into that they deserve.
The stuff you don't post. 3 a.m. honesty. Deep talk in a Denny's parking lot. The 3 a.m. version of the story. The 5% podcast. Hey Tom, pass the pancakes.
Welcome to the 5% Tom. Welcome to the Tomcast.
5% Tomcast. I'm your host,
We
Jude.
don't even have to cut that. That's fantastic. So as per usual, my name is Jude. I've got my co-host Tom. He's in one of these boxes.
Still Tom.
Yeah,
Yes.
still Tom. Yeah, Tomcast. It is the Tomcast today. And then we have a special guest today. We have Trina Parnell. Hello, Trina.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
For being special.
And being special.
Oh, why, thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to give yourself a little intro?
Yeah, sure. So I am a alignment and identity coach. Essentially, I work with people uncovering patterns and stories that are keeping them back from really what they want to get out in life. A lot of the times we've been born into different circumstances that we probably haven't asked for and aren't necessarily something that we wanted out of life. And a lot of the times those circumstances can get attached to how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and so how we show up in the world because of that can affect what we get out of life. So I help people kind of uncover some of that that's going on underneath the noise and kind of break free and reestablish a new identity based on what they want.
Oh my
That's so
goodness.
cool.
It is. I feel like I'm feeling nervous, like you have this power to uncover. And I'm feeling very vulnerable. I feel like you're a 5% expert. That's really incredible.
You have the power
I
to
have the
uncover,
power.
not me.
I will do my best. That's it. That's a perfect segue. Thank you. Because we always open the show with the 5% share. Typically, I start off unless you want to fight me for that privilege. I refuse to lose on live television. Okay, so my 5% share today is I think a very positive one. Yesterday morning, this just happened. We hired a new employee. We've been at 4 employees. When I say employees, that's including the 2 operating partners, myself and Logan. But we hired a 5th employee. At one point, we had 6 employees, and that didn't go well. And I actually got sued for about $148,000, which, thank you, lawyers, that did not happen. But it's been a long time. It's been over a year. And so there's all sorts of things that represent, and I hope it goes well. I'm not going to go into all that stuff. But yeah, my 5% shares were feeling pretty hopeful after sort of climbing this little mountain.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got a parenting share. I love small people. I think they're adorable, right? That's what I love about being a parent. Is it like, when you went out to like the soccer games and the baseball games, all the kids, they're all so lovely, right? Anyway, I was at, my oldest son just opened up his own business. He got his first rented location. And, it was just so satisfying to just watch my son launched and doing his thing, and he was so excited. And anyway, it's just like when I got back in the truck I was driving, and I called my ex to say, I just visited the Finn shop, and it's so great. And it's just like I almost broke down there, just leaving that message to watch little people become big people is just profound joy. So there you go.
Very cool. Thank you. Great share.
Yeah.
My 5% share would be, I think I recently just went through an event, and while I was in it, I kind of like, I had this idea that I don't want to say it like, trying to like think of how I can say this where it makes sense. A lot of the time going through like the work that I do, it's helping other people kind of see what's going on beneath the noise. And so this past event that I was in, I really got to pay attention to some of my own patterns that were holding me back. And it was just how much time and attention I spent on what other people thought of me, and how I navigated that, and like the fear of being seen and the fear of showing up and the fear of judgment and just all of that, and how it affected what I was saying, what I was doing, and putting a light on that. And just like, I'm still in that awkward phase of like working through it, but putting a light on that has given me so much room to breathe, because I'm now like playing with the word expression, and like being able to express myself without having to, be like, okay, like, what are you going to think about me? What are you going to think about me? What are they going to think about me? And just like being able to be like, no, I'm enough here as I am, like where I'm at, and like just being able to express what's in me currently, raw and real. That's the space that I'm in right now, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I can very much resonate with your with what you're saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, when did it occur to you that you wanted to take this interest and skill of yours and turn it into a business?
So my own story and like how I went through, I had a really interesting childhood, and I was very lucky. My mom didn't give me any rules. And so I had very, very big freedom, big childhood, no discipline. However, when you get into the real world and you haven't been disciplined and you don't really know disappointment or rejection or any of that, it can get really heavy really fast. And so I think because of that, I ended up just struggling mentally with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and trying to navigate that. I had a really, really long mental battle, and I worked through it. There's definitely like that moment, that story where, I had the medications lined up. I was supposed to go on antidepressants, and I had all of this other stuff going on. And it wasn't something that aligned with me. I didn't believe in the medications. I didn't believe in that being the solution, because I felt like it was more covering up the problem rather than uncovering the problem. And so I went on this journey, and Brené Brown was a huge, huge part of that. Tony Robbins was another huge part of that. And I just became obsessed with, why we do the things that we do, what's happening underneath the noise, why do we put ourselves into these situations that dilute essentially who we are. And I've been in the realm where I was like, I'm going to be a business coach, and just something inside me was like, nope, you're not supposed to do that. Like, you're here to help people get to the truth of who they are. You're here to help people align with what is true for them and what resonates with them. And I know that seems really easy to grab, the money, because the business coaching, it's everybody wants to make a business, everyone wants to build a business, but it's like, no, you have to keep going and just.
Was there a something that happened that made that clear to you?
Like a defining moment?
Yeah.
I think so. Part of my journey through the depression was there was a moment where like I literally was at the point where I was like, I feel like I'm going mentally insane. Like I feel like something is happening and something's wrong. And there was a point where I remember something snapped in me and was like, nope, this isn't how it's going to be. I'm a good person. I'm going to figure this out. And I thought back to a time in my life. I was like, okay, when was there a time in my life that I wasn't feeling this way? Because like I had this free, happy childhood and everything, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go on there. And I was like, okay, what was I doing? What was I doing at this point in my life where I was feeling this joy and this happiness? And I was like, okay, well, I was always giving. Like my mom always tells me stories about how I was just like very generous. Except when you feel like you have nothing, you can't, that just doesn't seem like a possibility, right? I'm like, I don't have anything to give at this point. And I was like, okay, well, what else is there? And I was like, I was really honest. Like I was really honest. I was always honest. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And at the time I was like, well, that's not very different, Trina. Like you're always honest. But it's funny when you actually like make the intention and you set the goal and you're like, okay, I'm going to be honest, how much you've been bullshitting yourself, like that comes up. And so just from that space, I just, even if people were to be like, hey, how are you today? I wasn't allowed to say fine if I wasn't fine. I didn't have to tell them everything that was going on inside of me. I could just say, I'm not really comfortable with talking about it, but I wasn't allowed to cover up how I felt. And
it sounds like your mom was really important in shaping.
My mom was very big on respect, very big on just like, she's the best. She's the best woman. She was very much into fun and she always wanted everything to be fun. Everything was a game. Everything was play. And so she really, I think, helped me connect to myself when I was younger and feel safe being that, like, in that space, so that when I did feel disconnected, I had that point to be like, hey, wait a second, this isn't feel right.
Can I ask what disconnected you from that kind of, sounds like there was like an early pure Trina.
Yeah. Boyfriends.
Oh,
I know. Relationships, failed relationships, trying to make sense of them, toxic relationships. I don't like to use that word either, like toxic relationships, but like when I go back, I'm like, no, it was not a good space. And bosses too, like I was definitely working for some people that didn't have the leadership skills to, I guess, train or, bring along a team. It was more trying to, like when you're building a business right from the start and you don't know what you're doing, it can be just even survival mechanism to blame your team, and then, that can build up too.
Well, none of us learn anything without reading the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask just a quick follow-up? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
No, I'm sorry.
This is your show, man.
It's the Tomcast. It's not my show.
Tomcast.
Tom is the one with...
you may speak now.
I appreciate I do appreciate Tom's background in journalism. So you talked about... You talked about your journey with mental health and depression, and I was curious. This may be a nothing burger, but when you were going through it, did you realize? Did you like? I have had my own journey. Most of us have, but even to this day, when I talk about it, I sort of talk about it like maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Like I'm not willing to take ownership or admit to it. I'm not sure what it is. And I'm very open. I don't think I have any shame about it. Yeah. But it's almost I don't know what it is. But I was just wondering. Like it took me a long time, years later, of looking back and realized, oh, that's why I didn't get out of bed. oh, that's why I didn't do this, X, Y, and Z. And it was actually my business partner. I don't even know if he knew he did it, but he forced me out of it. And I was just curious with your journey, at what point did you realize, oh my gosh, there is, and maybe it was a harder break, like there was an event with a relationship or something, but I'm just curious, how did you travel that part of the journey?
Yeah, so there's like two instances. There's actually a couple of things that were like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right, and like they kind of started to stack on top of like, you need to start taking a look at what's going on. One of them in particular, like I remember I was going to a friend's birthday party, and I lived in Toronto at the time, and we were meeting at this bar, and the bar is just outside of the CN Tower. And as I'm going there, I'm getting nervous because I had been in an argument with some of my friends earlier, and I just created this story about, you know, how they didn't want me there, they didn't want me to be there, and like all of this stuff that was going on in my head. And so I was standing outside of the CN Tower debating whether or not going in, having that argument with myself, being like, it's your friend's birthday, you need to be there for them. And this other voice that's like, they hate you, they don't want you to be there. And I'm having a panic attack essentially outside. I decided to go in, and immediately when I saw my friends, I just broke down crying and I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, okay, something's going on. And it was just those emotional triggers, like not being able to have control over my emotions and not being able to do the things I wanted because my emotions were overriding me. That was when I was like, this is something big. Like, this is something that doesn't align with where I was when I was little and like what's happening, because I need to figure it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
When I was wondering, though, when you came, you know, you talked about coming through hard stuff. What did you take through it? Like, what did you learn? What
did I learn through the hardships?
Yeah, I want to know, like, what anchors you in, you know, in what you know, in your business where you're helping other people. What did you learn coming through your hard stuff that anchors your teachings now?
Yeah, it's all like perception is such a huge part of what makes us successful or not successful. How we see the world, how we see ourselves. You know, when I was going through everything that I was going through, I had beliefs of I'm unlovable, I'm not enough, and all of these things that were curated from stories of, you know, past partners and past jobs and past experiences, when at the core that's not really what it is. Like, all of us have the same inherent value. Like, we are all worthy as souls and like deserve to live out to, and I hate using the word potential because it's so overused and kind of cliche, but we do have the ability to tap into this inner strength and this inner knowing within us. And so for me, it's like, for me to be able to, you know, be in my apartment where like I was heavily into drugs, I was drinking all the time, like I was a very high functioning alcoholic. And for me to be in that and then overcome that, remove those patterns, remove that behavior, because I know that, and it's really a self-worth thing too, that like I am worthy of the life that I dream. I am worthy of following my heart and following the dreams. And I think having people understand that the things that are keeping them struggling in life, it's not that it's not real, like it's absolutely real, it's there, it's a reality. And there's also another reality that they could adopt and transfer over into that they deserve. And that's kind of my North Star, is just helping people feel worthy of what they want.
I love that. We spend a lot of time, like when you're an EO, we have these things called coach and uncoach presentations. And the word coach probably should be omitted from this thing because none of us are actually coaches of any sort. We do some training around it. But the thing we try to do is, I don't know if we still call it the Johari window, but there's the perception of yourself, there's what others perceive of you, and then there's what's hidden to everyone.
Right.
And then we go through this presentation thing, sort of like you said when we were just earlier talking, that it's not you who's going to help me, it's you're going to guide me so I can help myself. And that's the goal. I have been doing this for a decade. Now I've seen you do it. You're excellent at it. Kevin Koderinsky is really good at it. Very few people are actually good at it, especially those of us who are not professionals. But I think this is what you are. This is what you specialize in. Yeah. And when you talk about it, you make it. And I know it's not intentional, but you make it sound so like straightforward and easy. How did you get How did you get to the point where you are helping people help themselves? You're one of the most authentic guests we've ever had. I mean, you were just laying out who you are. It's embarrassing. I told you what a 5% share is. You were you're 10 times amazing. But anyway, how did you develop that skill?
So thank you. I appreciate that. The skill came from obsession, like deep, maybe a little bit unhealthy obsession. It's in my mind every day. Like I'm always playing around with, okay, what am I feeling right now? What's happening right now? What am I doing right now? There've been points where I've been like, okay, like I need to look at me because this isn't healthy. What I'm doing, like this is, we want to be, we don't want to analyze and like put myself under a microscope. So it's just a lot of trial and error, and everything that I want to teach to people, everything that I want to show people, I've had to walk first, because I can't help somebody see something that I don't see. And so that's been a big thing, is just when fear kind of shows up and I'm like, oh, like I don't want to do this. I'm like, oh, but if you do it, think about the next person you could help. So
That's one of the techniques you use with people? Like that's one of the techniques you coach people to use?
Well, I'll usually, like if fear, walking through their fear, yes, is one of the techniques, because essentially fear and emotions, they're signals, they're not directions. And a lot of times when people feel a fear or there's something that comes up, they'll take it as truth and be like, oh, okay, like I shouldn't do that because like I want to be safe. And yes, it is your mind's way of telling you it's, this is going to keep you safe, but it's why it's telling you that way, right? So getting people to lean into seeing their fear, getting people to lean into understanding their fear, and then getting people to make a decision that if they still want to have that fear, because all fears have a purpose, but it's just, is this fear keeping you from what you desire, or is it keeping you safe? Because it's not the same.
Yeah. I really love the whole Daniel Kahneman thinking fast and slow, like emotional, rational brain. Do you see that separation in people between their their base operating system kind of reactions to things, but then their rational response is like two different things?
So I don't know his framework entirely. Is it more emotional to logical? Is that what the...
Yeah, I mean, he's just like sort of like your emotional self is like out of your control, right? You just like notice things and are either happy, fearful, whatever. And that when you're, feeling threatened, then your thinking brain is like brought into the picture.
Yeah.
Right? To like, hey, what is that about? why are you fearful? What's the right? What are we going to do about this fear?
Yeah.
And like that slower thinking brain gets brought into action, but only when the emotional side has like been activated.
Yeah. Well, like for how I understand it, and like I guess how I've been taught or what I've adapted to, is both serve a purpose. Like the logic and the emotion, they're both useful. It's just sometimes one is not useful in one situation and sometimes one is not useful in the other. And it's learning how to navigate each of them. Like my mentor taught me, so Tony Robbins, he taught me like there's actually a logical way to look at your emotions and how to kind of bring them. I don't like to use the word control because we don't want to really try to control our emotions. However, when you're in a fearful state, when you're in like that space where something is like danger, if you haven't been through the experience before, and especially like if you've gone through the situation where you're just like, oh, okay, like this is dangerous and it's because, you know, I'm fearing rejection or I'm fearing abandonment or I'm fearing, like, it's one of those belief systems. It's not like a car's coming at you and it's like logical, like get out of the way, but it's more of like an emotional fear that's popping up. When we're in that fearful state, usually we want to fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, right? And usually at the other end of the desire is connection, it's love, it's so dealing with it by running away or fighting it, you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to be able to fulfill the things that like you want to. And this is like from my story is I very much wanted connection and love, and I've been having difficult times in the past with relationships because of a lot of the stuff that came from my past. And so it's when you're in that space, being able to sit with the uncomfortable emotion, being able to sit with fear, sit with that space, and then decide how you want to act instead. Because when you're acting from a place of love, when you're acting from a place of excitement, of curiosity, what you tap into and what is possible is different. And so there's actually like a formula for tapping into emotions, and this is NLP work as well, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and that's like you can put yourself into an emotional state intentionally, and that's by just using your senses. So what you see, what you hear, you know, like if you were to say, okay, what does a person who is depressed, what do they do with their body? Right? They're probably slumped over. They're probably talking really low. They're focused on, you know, things that they don't have. And there's a little bit of a formula, there's a pattern to depression. Just like if people are really excited and then they get really like into this emotion and they want to express themselves, there's a pattern to it. There's a tonality. And so that physicality, you can force yourself. You can choose to be in those physicalities and it'll help you tap into that energy, giving you a different possibility and outcome.
What is toxic positivity?
Toxic positivity? If I were to guess, it would be people trying to portray positivity. And because like when I think of a toxic environment, it's something that is unhealthy for someone. Like when I think of a toxic relationship, it's an unhealthy environment and that's going to breed certain things. So toxic positivity would probably, under my assumption, be an environment where people are portraying positivity and expecting you to be positive, but there's like this underlying feeling that it's false. And there's
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be.
Yeah, and sorry, I wasn't trying to quiz you or anything there.
You can quiz me.
No.
I might not pass, but
No. I thought I'd picked that up actually in one of your posts or something. So I was just opening it and we edit all kinds of stuff out. But I was giving you a door. I meant to give you a door to talk about that. So.
I don't think I've ever talked about toxic positivity.
Might be a good segue into some news.
Hey, go.
Well, on that note, there's as we spent a lot of time talking about mental health, and we have a couple of headlines here. So the BDC just released data that says almost 90% of entrepreneurs are dealing with a mental health issue. Almost 90%. That's a pretty daunting number to say the least.
Who said that?
This is from the BDC, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the people that lend us money are also into the mental health game, apparently. I never want to think about how that's related. But I feel like mental health is top of mind, and I, probably because I'm a space of it, and I do hear about it, but I am surprised perhaps I don't hear about it more, in the entrepreneurship circle. And I guess the question is, you deal with all sorts of people, but do these numbers sort of, did these stack up? Does that actually make sense?
Yes. I mean, I don't know I'm such a horrible person when it comes down to like analytics and like numbers and everything.
Well, I think part of it too is the story's getting at is like, is this really a new thing, or have we just figured this out and now we're realizing, oh my gosh, here's this thing that's been here all the time. Maybe we should address it, Well,
I think like with there being more online businesses, a lot more solopreneurship, because isolation and keeping yourself like, it's different when you're part of a team and you have people to work with and build something with, but all of these solo businesses, and I know, imposter syndrome and trying to stack up to people that you're just seeing online, portraying that, version of themselves that they think that they're supposed to be portraying, like it can become a very confusing space to be in, especially if you don't have, like if people are just falsely going around saying, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is my business and this is how life is supposed to look, and then other people are looking to those people for advice, and then it just kind of becomes this stacking effect. If they're disconnected from what's going on inside of them and they're just kind of building and creating something based off of what they see, then yeah, like, because disconnection from self, to me anyway, is why the mental health situation is so high.
Yeah, absolutely. I find this space, like entrepreneurship, super interesting. To walk in the door, I got a stack of books. I love collecting books, as everyone knows, but I don't read any of those, but they look good. I just need a better shelf. I appreciate that.
Stack.
But 9 out of 10 of those books is a 1-page PDF. No offense. No one can see the books, so I'm not offending the authors. But those books, all the stuff you read about online, or God forbid you spend too much time on LinkedIn, there's this preset group of expectations that you can feel like you need to stack up so that this perception, I remember very recently, there's a gentleman in my life that, I met through school kids, and I look up to him. He does a lot of things that I don't. And I had a perception of his business. And, because of, the group and EO and everything else, I had these revenue expectations. And because we're both entrepreneurs, one day, years after we started being friends, I casually dropped out $30,000. We hit this number, and thinking that I was probably multiple millions lower than him. And I'm a brand new EOA graduate. Like I'm 1.1, 1.2 tops, and there's no profit there, right? We're just trying to make it. But I made all these assumptions about him. He immediately shut down, because it turns out his number is lower than mine, and he's got 4 times as many employees. And it turns out, as he shared with me right after that, he's got a job on the side to make ends meet. Right. And this is all just based on this world I'd come into, where I make all these grand assumptions that everyone's got a $3 million business or whatever, when actually you look at the BDC statistics, most businesses are one person. Most business has revenues under $300,000, which is just someone's salary and some expenses. But like when I look at these, these numbers about mental health among entrepreneurs, I sort of think about this deck that is almost stacked.
Well, when people come to you, like what problem were they looking to solve?
So in the past, it was people who were looking to get like technology like people had this, because I used to do business coaching and the mindset coaching. And so it was people who had businesses that were looking to kind of bridge the unknown of the tech aspect online. And really what that turned into was, okay, you're not confident in your business. Let's build the confidence there because you have every capability of, doing that. And now it's more people who are out, I don't want to say out of control of their emotion, but it's people who have been, it's affecting their relationships, it's affecting their work. They don't know what's going on, but they know that there's something that is missing or feeling disconnected and they want more. So I guess clarity would probably be what they're really looking for, but clarity to what they actually don't know, because they just feel there's a disconnect on what they want out of life, what they've thought that their life was going to be and what it is. And, they don't believe in therapy, or maybe they've tried therapy and it hasn't worked, because that's been me. And they're just ready to kind of lean into the possibility that maybe they are capable of achieving more, and they're ready to tap into that.
So they come in looking for one thing, but they actually get something quite different from you.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of, I guess, showing them the connection between.
Here's the thing is, everybody has succeeded at some point in their life. And so there's a pattern to success. And so the connection that I'm helping them make is what their unique ability is, what their power is, how they've used it in the past, and how they can use it in whatever that challenge is. And then also inviting them into some other perceptions that maybe they've never thought of before. Because, with whether it's a relationship or with business, there are some ideas that are maybe outdated in the programming of their mind that when they let go of them, there's a difference between management and ownership. There's a difference between a relationship and a partnership. And so just like those small tweaks of having people understand like the old programming that they have and that they were brought up with. That's obviously as long as it's in line with what they are moving towards.
Well, what kind of changes do you see in people over the course you're working with them?
It's definitely, they have more fulfilling relationships. They're able to open up more vulnerably with their partners and have deeper connections. Same thing with like their teams. So I've worked with people being able to help them in their leadership style, I guess would be the best way to describe it, because a lot of the times, micromanagement, you do this and you do that, and it's like, well, it's just a fear of losing control. That's all micromanagement is. And so having them understand, okay, well, what's really the goal behind you controlling a team? It's like, well, we want to get to a goal, we want to have this, and it's like, okay, well, what if we were to shift the perspective of you assuming the belief in them already and like giving them the tools. And so usually the goals that people have in their lives, like the things that they want to achieve, the reason they can't get them is just because it's this need to, it's a fear of the unknown. And so a lot of the time, the shifts that I see, it's a lot more lighter, like people are stepping into a lighter way of being because they're not having to carry it all. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Like who can't relate?
Yeah.
I mean, I live with a micromanager, so Oh boy, I get it. Before we've got a little bit of time left, but
You've
there's
just
so many
outed
things.
us now.
I've just outed us.
Your spouse will not be happy about learning that you've been living with me. But anyway.
Oh, it's unhappy. That's just life. We can't let you go without we got lots to get through. We could do 3 hours easily with you. Tell us about what it's like to be part of the whole Tony Robbins movement. That's got to be incredible.
It is. It is. I've been with his team since 2021 was my first event that I did. It was the New World, New You Challenge, which is a free event. He does it every beginning of the year in January, I think. And from there, I was just obsessed. It's like, okay, this is the path that I need to go on. I'm going to stick with this. And so once you actually finish an event, you can crew the event. So I was just like, hey, every time I finish an event, I'm going to crew it. Like I said, I got obsessed. And now I'm a senior leader for his team. And it's the amount of care and the amount of love that goes in behind the scenes of that. Like when you're doing an event with them, like you can feel it. You can feel that, like you're just like, oh, what is this energy? This is so great. Like I've never been to a virtual event that's anywhere near as impactful as this. And then once you get behind the scenes and you see how much everybody cares, you see how much everybody dedicates to all of the details and the attention, and every single person on that team is just so filled with like, they are on his mission. We are all part of this mission, and the mission is to end world suffering. Like that is his mission in life. It's beautiful. Like, and it's just.
And what is the impact on people in those events? Like what impacted you that made you such a believer?
It was giving me control over. It's giving you agency back in your life. Like giving you the understanding and the knowing that everything is a choice. Everything that we do in this life is a choice. And every choice leads to a result. And so if you don't like the result that you're in, just make different choices. And I know that sounds so like basic and simple, and I'm not trying to simplify it. For like the emotions are what create the resistance. And it's also showing you how you can make different choices while you're in those difficult emotions, how you can switch and change from, being in a fearful state to in a beautiful state, as he calls it, and giving you the power essentially back over your life.
Sounds like taking responsibility. Mm-hmm. Is that
taking responsibility, taking ownership? A big lesson I learned is sometimes taking responsibility is holding other people accountable, because sometimes you can't take everything onto yourself. So it's just like learning all of these different perceptions, and like curiosity is a big one. Always remain curious. Ted Lasso also believes in that. So,
My wife, her famous thing is she says, get curious, not furious.
Yeah.
Which we love,
Oh, but it's so, curiosity saved my life. Like, it's one of those things. It's when we stay in this, like, I know mindset, that's what blocks us off from possibility.
Mm-hmm. I often use it when Tom and I are talking. He usually comes out with some big MAGA thing. He's just a huge Trump guy. And he'll be like, we need to build more walls. And then I get curious. I'm like, Tom, tell me about these walls. And he said, well, they're going to be 20 foot and they're going to pay for it. I'm like, oh, great. How are they going to? And then we just keep going. And eventually Tom sort of comes around like, maybe that's not the best idea. But the curiosity with Tom works. I think it's worked really well.
Way.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's fun. Fun times.
You mentioned Brené Brown too. Like, what do she and Tony Robbins have in common?
I think both of them work with emotions. They definitely work on them on different scales. And I'm kind of in this space where I'm trying to become the bridge between them both, because I think both of their work is
They need to get together.
They do.
Oh my God!
Wouldn't that
Yes,
be
they
ridiculous?
do. I've already told the team. I've messaged the team and been like, they need to hang out, but they do need to hang out. I
Even
think
from a business perspective, bringing
Yes.
those audiences together, it would be good for both sides. That'd be insane.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because like her whole thing with shame and like how that, like he teaches people how to take control. And he does say, and a lot of his work talks about how shame is a tricky emotion. And I can attest, like that was a big thing that I had to work through. And it's just, yeah, like both of them deal with emotions. Both of them, they just have different strategies. I feel like Brené is more about understanding the emotion and just like giving it space to breathe. Tony's like, let's take care of this. So it's like very two different strategies, but both very, very
Where do
impactful.
we all go so off the rails, though? You know, like even like, and you gave it some space in your own story. But where, like, what is it that goes wrong? We have these like pure, lovely young people, and then so many of us go through a really hard patch, and then need to heal and find peace. You know, once we've wasted a few decades. Like, where do we go wrong?
From like, I guess if I could guess on like a broad spectrum, I would say it's attaching meaning to those stories and making, and like attaching. So for instance, like the situations that I went through, there's a difference. Like I went through it and I created a meaning about what it meant about me, right? About my value, about my worth. Like, oh, this happened to me because I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. This wouldn't have happened if I was X, Y, and Z, right? And it's like coming to, rather than actually like taking a look at what happened and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I survived that. How beautiful that I was able to go through that moment and like still come out on this space. And like that's what a lot of the healing is having somebody go back to those moments where there's shame, go back to the moments where there's a lot of heaviness, and whether it's shame, resentment, rejection, and it's, you know, not even like it's a rejection of self, a betrayal of self, it's all of that, and sitting with that version of yourself and giving that version of yourself the honor and the respect it deserves, because before that instance, you'd never been through anything like that, right? Before we go through the things that cause trauma and cause pain, we're not practiced in it. We don't get a handbook that's like, hey, this crap is going to happen to you, like, and this is how you should deal with it. And so just giving that space to honor ourselves, because I think that's where the problem comes up, is we don't acknowledge how much strength it takes to survive that stuff, how much, you know, wisdom or love or care or compassion it takes to move through those difficult times.
So do you feel a lot of your work is just is about helping people feel worthy?
Yeah. That's the core of it. Because when we feel like we're enough and when we believe in ourselves, and that's where anything is possible.
I wonder where we go wrong letting young people not feel worthy, right? Or letting them accept those negative self stories. Like I just, wonder where that starts.
Where would you guess it starts?
Yeah.
I would guess not being, I mean, obviously I know everything about this, but I'll jump in anyway. We start comparing ourselves very early. And it can be fairly harmless for a while, but eventually, like, it's really hard to say, well, we lost the baseball game today and I missed that pitch. That person's better than me. I am bad. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you get an Instagram account and it's all downhill, from there. I don't know if that's the start, but like comparison is the human experience. to a large degree, but by controlling it, with your logic and your emotion, I'm incredibly challenged. I'm extremely emotional. I will cry every TELUS commercial with an animal. I'm like, get me the...
That's why they keep those bunnies
They do.
around. They're
It
like,
freaking works.
Jude, we need to sell you another phone.
And is your phone provider TELUS?
Yes, actually.
It works.
It does, yeah.
The future is friendly.
The future, the bill is not. But yes, absolutely.
Well, and two, like to the point of like comparison, and so like children, they look up to their parents as models, and this is something that I bring in when I am, and why I'm able to speak so clearly with my clients is because I've been through the forgiveness. I've been through, like I've gone through the healing journey, and I think sometimes. Like when you're talking as a parent, you're like, where do we let our little ones go wrong? It's like, well, they're comparing themselves to you. And if you haven't done the work, if you haven't given yourself the grace, if you haven't, come to terms with, it's okay for me to be imperfect, and it's okay for me to have fault, and it's okay for me to be human, then they then are like, okay, like they'll model you. I modeled my mother, I modeled my grandmother, I modeled, and so just making sure that, how you want your children to feel about themselves, you got to show them.
It's almost like grandparents would make better parents than parents make parents, because they've picked up the lessons of living that they're able to pass on to the...
I think there's so much truth there. I remember, having my first and being a nervous Nelly about everything. I mean, if you tried to touch my kid in Thrifties, I might come at you, bro.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry.
yeah, I know. I'm just letting you know. But then we'd have this situation where I don't have any grandparents, but somebody else's grandparents would be in the room, or they'd be babysitting my kids, and I'd watch how they were so chill and relaxed, but like the kids are smashing things, breaking windows, peeing on the floor. They could not even care. They're just in sheer enjoyment around little ones. Whereas I'm ignoring the sheer enjoyment and just thinking, you're not as good as me. Not remembering I was worse at that age.
Right.
Just selective memory. But I think you're a genius for saying that, Tom.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting it out there right
the
now.
ages have been waiting for that one.
Micromanager, but on the genius end. So it's understandable. I forgive you. See, we've had a journey.
Have you got kids?
I don't. I have a fur baby. That's
Yeah. What kind of fur baby have you got?
a golden retriever. A very ridiculous, oversized golden retriever.
Oh, beautiful. How old?
She's 5, and her name is Gidget.
Does she prance?
She does do like a bounce thing. Like sometimes
I am in love with the golden retriever prance.
Okay.
It's something I've come to enjoy in the last few years.
They're
Yes.
so silly.
Now, before we get into fur babies, we're going to get into the because Tom will talk.
We haven't talked about boats at all yet today. This is great.
This is the first time, yeah. But podcast isn't over yet. Sorry, the Tomcast. We are going to hit you. Actually, both of you. We're going to change the format up.
Don't hit us.
We're going to have both of you get hit with these questions today. Some of these may fit, they may not, but that's what editing is for. So these are meant to be quick answers. And by the way, I'm going to give you sometimes 2 options. You can say that both options suck.
Multiple choice is good.
Yeah. So journaling or therapy, if you could only recommend one.
Journaling.
Yeah, journaling.
All right. Hardest emotion for high achievers to admit to.
I'd say shame.
Weakness.
Weakness.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Most overused word in the personal development world right now.
Pass.
Absolutely. It's
think
a
of one.
horrible question. As soon as I read it, I was like, you need
Well,
multiple choice.
Tomcast needs to
No,
answer.
I'm good with the past too. Yeah.
Mindset shift. Can you think your way to it, or do you have to feel your way to it?
Feel.
When you need to achieve that, what do you do, Tom?
Well, I'm more of a thinker, I think. But you got to you have to understand your emotions. Your brain has to understand what the heck is going on, and then it can quiet.
I like it. Best sign that a client is actually changing, not just performing change.
Ooh, their language.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there are 1,000 tells. People talk a lot.
Yeah.
It's due. Yeah.
What's more dangerous? Too much self-belief or not enough?
I would say not enough, only because the too much self-belief, like where it becomes dangerous, is usually egotistical and it's not really belief. It's yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm going with Donald Trump. Yeah, too much ego is bad.
Tell me more about that. Oh, sorry, not right now. Okay. Thank you. You're on to the resource section, sir.
Am I?
Yeah. Or whatever you want to do. It's the Tomcast.
Yeah. What's in the resource section?
Oh, this is where you ask for the guests to share resources. Both of you have actually done an amazing job of sharing resources just organically, so thank you both.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about a couple of your favorite authors and books and stuff. Like, what is your favorite thing right now?
Authors, books, podcasts, yoga.
So, okay. Trevor Noah's Born a Crime is
One of the best books I've ever written.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like for people who don't like reading, the audiobook is phenomenal. And I am not an audiobook person, but he just has oh my God. Have you listened to it?
No.
It's really good.
It's so good because it paints this, like it gives you so many perceptions of life because he was a mixed male who lived in a very high class white space, but then also lived in a very underprivileged black space. And so he gets to talk about what it was to be white in that underprivileged black space and what it was to be black in the overprivileged white space. So it's like from one person, you get to see all of these different perspectives of the world and how he had to he wasn't fitting in anywhere. It's really good.
And I this is a horrible thing to say, but one of the things I love most about it, and this will shine a light on my various ineptitudes, but it gives you an incredible view into to South Africa at a very specific time. And if you have the view that there was apartheid and it was a very specific thing that worked a very specific way, he sort of blows that up and lets you know, oh no, this was an amazingly built machine. There's actually multiple levels and the people inside were actually compensated for making sure the machine worked that way. And it was, one part he talked about driver's licenses, how people get bribed to change the color designation on the, because it wasn't just black or white.
Yeah.
There were shades,
Yeah.
which gave you class and standing in society. It's an incredible, and also tragedy, laugh after laugh after laugh.
Oh, yeah.
The only way someone like Trevor Noah could do it was a big, anyway.
So good.
Incredible.
What about you? What are you reading?
I mean, there's so many books over there.
It's very impressive.
It's pretty hard to keep track of them all. The last good thing that I probably paid attention to in that pile was the.
I noticed Spider-Man is on the top.
I mean, that's just my kid left that here. No, it's
Sure.
it's fine.
Sure.
I can't remember his name, but it's the former Navy SEAL turned hostage negotiator or whatever it was. Chris something.
Voss?
I feel like. Thank you, Chris Voss. Yeah, that was
FBI.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed that book because it's regardless of anything out about it, it's one of those books. It's an interesting story. You know, I don't know how much I actually got out of negotiation that changed a thing in my world, but it was an interesting read. In fact, I can tell you not a thing changed, but it was an interesting
It's actually your
read.
favorite thing about ChatGPT or AI, whatever, is to say, if you were Chris Voss, what would you advise me to do in this situation?
That is actually the big, I am on co-work And like I'm now left GPT and I'm all Claude now, or Claudette as one of my friends calls it, because no man could ever be this useful. And so, thank you, Kim. But yeah, I do not go to bed without asking it for a piece of research in the morning. And the guy that I just hired is like an innovation Claude code expert who wakes up in the morning. He built the software to give him all the reports that goes out to all of his stack and gives him everything every day.
Right.
And anyway, so yeah, that is the stuff I'm getting is every night I am doing some long research on something, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's obsessive.
It is.
Yeah.
Mine's name is Carl, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I have Carl because it makes me feel more connected to the GPT.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, I can understand why people are fearful is because they don't understand how to use it and the benefits of it. But there are so many. One of the things that's very therapeutic that I got into is I will give it so I used to draw and I used to write, and this whole expression thing that I was talking about earlier. I've been okay, how do I bring that back? How do I get back into drawing and into this space? And I'd get frustrated because my drawing isn't where I want it to be, and and so it's oh, I'm going to give my journal entry, because I used to just draw my feelings. That's how I used to when I was younger. So I'm going to give my journal entry to Carl, and then I'm going to give Carl a couple of styles that I really like. And I've actually been working with it, and it's beautiful. We've come up with just these visual imagery pieces that represent my poetry, represent my writing. And it's so cool what you could do with it.
That was amazing. Yeah, that's
Go Carl. Nice
Go
work.
Carl. Go Carl.
I was doing it for a while where I would I'd have an AI in my ears on my two block walk just into the office here, and we would just chat hey, how's it going? How you feeling?
Yeah.
And then I would get here and feel better.
Yeah.
Which is, and we actually did an experiment. So in my work, we interview people and ask them about what they've been doing, right? So we can do these reports. And we had a period where we thought the world was ending because of AI. And so we, paid some money and built a thing so that people could get interviewed by robots. So it could be 24/7. And while it was a total and utter failure, what was super interesting is the people that were doing the interviews with the robots, they shared more freely because they were free of judgment, was the feedback. Mm-hmm. It was super interesting. Now, it was a disaster in terms of the actual interview content, but it was still really interesting to see the things that were shared. And rather than someone just getting to the point and not talking about their kids, we found that they would do that stuff more often.
Right.
Because there was no, they didn't feel like they were being rushed, and this person would start asking them questions. Totally not what it should have done, but it did. Anyway. Very interesting.
No, it's great. And so one of the things too is I'm I could go on about this. So
Please do.
I'm actually building a GPT for my clients, and it's goes through coaching and ask them questions to kind of uncover stuff. But then one of the things I've noticed is you can get into the question after you can go down the rabbit hole, right? So I'm okay, this GPT needs to stop and put them into action. So it's giving it's because it's so cool. You can give it these instructions on how it's supposed to kind of show up and behave and all of that. And one of the things that's really helped me and where it was inspired was one of Tony's teachings is, if you want to be successful, model somebody that is getting the results that you want, right? And after a situation and a very intense experience last summer, I came out of that and was okay, I need to connect to my femininity. I need to reconnect to that part of me. Who is a feminine model? Who is a female that I look up to and admire, that I want to embody, that I want to model? And this woman came to mind. She's a fictional character. Her name is Donna Paulsen from Suits. And I was just if I could model anybody, because she's all about self-worth. She's about owning her shit, but she does it in this elegant, beautiful way. And so it's okay, I'm going to make a Donna GPT. And so I worked with ChatGPT. We came up, but then I also gave it my values and like the things. So it's not I'm embodying her completely. It's a mix of how she holds herself plus what I find important. And so then when I got into like these challenging situations, I would then go to Donna GPT and be like, hey, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. And like we would work through these situations together, and I'd be like, okay, and like I'd feel confident about going in and like testing out this new like ability of I'm gonna stand in my shit and I'm gonna own it and this is how I want to show up, and it's really cool.
Okay. So first of all, genius. There is a video game.
Okay.
It is called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
It's a Western. It is a video game, but it's one of these video games that's single person perspective. You are in a Western, and if you're a boy, I'm going to be sexist here, this is the person you've always wanted to be. Like, you know the Corona commercial with the coolest man in the world?
Yeah.
It's the cowboy version of him.
Okay.
He's good looking. He's rugged. He will beat your ass, but he's also cool and calm. Will talk you off a ledge.
Right.
He will save you. He'll run into the burning building. He's super fast with the guns. He rides horses like you wouldn't believe. He's an outlaw. He does everything. I am making him for sure this weekend. I cannot believe I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have Captain Picard. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get any work done for weeks because I'm going to have like 12 different people.
You're going to see him. He's like, 1 second, I just need to go consult my...
What would Captain Picard do? That's awesome.
Well, Trina, you've been super generous with your time, and I don't want to impose on it anymore, but thanks so much for coming in and tell us what you're
thank
about
you.
and what you do. I bet your clients really get a lot out of their time with you and what you do for them. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for showing up today.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Good. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right on.